Hey, so I wanted to say something about people who want to be successful and some of the ways of thinking that will help a person achieve their goals. A lot of people can never hope to be successful because they don't have the proper perspective. So I found this video I wanted to react to, Diary of a CEO. He interviews Lilly Singh, and I thought that some of the things she mentioned and he mentioned were really insightful. So here we go.
Justice and a sense of anger in people that I've seen so many times in myself, and thinking about my friend Umar, who's comes from a somewhat similar background. An Indian guy, went on to create billion-dollar company. He grew up with this internal, just almost frustration, anger, this sense of trying to correct an injustice, and that manifests as this chip on his shoulder. And I guess life, if you start with that predisposition and you go through life with that idea of like disrupting the status quo, you will win, and that will reinforce that.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, so what he's talking about is drive. Do you have something to prove? Are you do you have a vision, some sort of, way of doing things that you believe is more efficient? And if you don't have that, how successful do you plan on being? Because if you're not trying to establish some sort of standard, then I don't know how impactful you plan on being or how successful you want to be. And people who have a chip on their shoulder, people who maybe have been disenfranchised, will have that drive to reach a particular goal, and drive helps. It really does.
So I will just say, I have to get really honest and say that mixed with ego. Once you get a bit of success, I think Jay-Z says success is the most addictive drug. It is. Once you disrupt and it comes up the other end and you see how amazing it is, you're like, I need to keep doing this. I need to keep doing this. I need to keep disrupting. I need to.
Yeah, so she's saying success is addicting. And I think that could be a bad thing or a good thing, in the way that it's bad in that maybe your health may suffer because of your ambition, but at the same time, if you can't get enough, then it's going to push you further. You have enthusiasm. Um, so, yeah, are you addicted? Are you obsessed with success or your goals, in whichever way you choose to do it? And, you know, like she said, success can be addicting. Is that the type of addiction that you want? It could take you far. And
Too strong!
There. Perfectly
if you want to
balanced.
donate, I could pay for YouTube without ads.
Number one tool that we are using to halve our sales cycle.
Link in the
and to
description.
massively increase our
when someone said to me one day, maybe 7 years ago, they said, you need to realize that you're already enough. I remember thinking, what a load of bullshit.
Yep.
I'm not going to get out of bed if I have that viewpoint.
Exactly,
I
yes.
don't need to strive for anything. Bullshit, get out of my office, right? And then, upon reflecting on that, writing my book, whatever, I realized that my thought that knowing you're enough inhibits ambition is actually false. What it does, knowing you're enough kills fake ambition. The minute I knew, I started to get closer to realizing that I was enough. My ambitions were all things that I actually wanted, that were actually in line with my. So it's this weird paradox of when you know you're enough, it doesn't inhibit ambition. It's the foundation of real ambition.
Correct.
Yeah, so when you realize what you're capable of, that's going to lead you in the right direction. So you have to know what you want and how you want it. And I talked about this in another video, where you could have something an idea that's really important to you, a certain way of doing things. I use the example of food, like how to prepare pizza in a very particular way. And if you know that this way is so much better than a lot of other ways that people prepare pizza, then you have to know that, and know that your way is very much better. They have different styles of pizza: New York, Chicago, Hawaiian, so on and so forth. and Sicilian. So if you know how you want to do things, then and you have that belief, then establishing that first is going to help you with success.
Gives you a lot of clarity, I think, and you're absolutely correct. Because when you don't feel like you're enough, everything feels important. Everything feels like something you have to obtain. Everything feels like a challenge. You know, when I didn't feel like I was enough and I felt like I am the late night host, I am this actor, I am my job, this is what defines me. If anyone asks me who I was, I would never answer as, I'm a patient friend, I'm a nice, I would be like, in this show, that's how I would, or I would define myself by my struggles, which is another whole thing, not by ever my potential. I would never say, I'm someone who's gonna change the world because of X, Y, Z. I would say, I'm someone who had a really tough childhood. We either define ourselves by our struggles or by these other external validations and accolades that we think are important.
Now, understanding what defines you is also going to help you be successful, because if you have no direction, how is anyone supposed to follow you? You want a bunch of followers. So understanding your standards and just having a particular trajectory is going to help you get to a very specific point of success and even further. So know thyself, or is that like a philosophy or something?
When you have 14 million, you have your damn mind.
Totally.
But tell me, so like at that crossroads,
He asked her if she was out of her mind, and she said, yeah, totally, after she took a break from her channel. I just thought that was funny. She's like, I'm out of my mind, and
based on relevancy. This can be summarized in one easy sentence, which is you cannot expect to grow and also stay the same. It just cannot happen. You have to make room for growth. And so
you cannot grow and remain the same. Also helpful if you want to be successful, because you want to go from being a novice to being an expert. And I don't know how you're going to do that without growth. It's just like someone who's a rookie who goes to the NBA, and then they have this raw talent, but they don't have enough knowledge of the game playing against other elite players, and then you grow into this very much teamwork way of thinking, or adapting to being able to play with all of these different players or styles. And it doesn't just have to be about sports. It could be about, anything you pursue. So being prepared for growth, or being prepared for your experiences along the way of success and how it'll change you, is going to help you deal with success a lot better, and everything that comes along with it.
right?
100%. Even you saying this has given me a fourth pimple on my cheek. And I'm sweating because it...
I wanted to play that part because I just think it's funny how she knows how many pimples are on her cheek. I've never heard a dude say like the number of pimples he has, but she counted them. It's just interesting how much attention to detail women pay attention to. She wasn't just like, I have pimples. She knows the exact number. I just thought that was funny.
And this is way easier said than done, and I'm still working on it. I had to learn not, and I mean this with love, but I mean this very bluntly, not to take advice from people giving it from inside their comfort zone. The amount of people, especially on YouTube, that would criticize the jokes on my show, the delivery on my show, the sound quality of my show without never.
Yeah, so you don't want to take advice from someone who's in their comfort zone, someone who doesn't know, someone who doesn't take risks, someone who doesn't just go above and beyond, someone who doesn't have a plan, someone who has no experience with going through a process and making a mistake and going back and making adjustments, and you don't want to take advice from someone like that, because they don't have enough understanding of what it takes to succeed or even move towards success. So you want to listen to people who are also taking risks, or have taken risks, or have experience or knowledge from some sort of reference about, going from this point to that point, and uh, that's gonna help you succeed a lot more. Listening to the people who actually have experience with these types of pursuits. Something is buzzing. Something is buzzing over there. Something's buzzing over there.
So I can't control other people. I can control myself. I did that to myself. As harsh as other people were to me, I was way more harsh.
Yeah, you are your worst enemy, I guess. She's saying that as harsh as people were to her, as critical, as much as they criticized her, maybe even deterred her. I don't know if that's true, but she may have been her worst critic. She may have been way harder on herself, and you hear that from a lot of successful people, that they are their harshest critic. They are harder on themselves than anyone else could ever be, and it's true. This is what someone who really cares about their goals. This is the way they think. They may or may not be a perfectionist, which some people advise against. But if you really believe in your product or what you have to offer, then yeah, you're probably gonna overthink and over criticize and all of that. So that's something else that you may experience on your pathway to success.
For large, $10 for any three
More
toppings,
ads.
$10 for your choice of breakfast. Only at Pizza Hut.
It wasn't just that I didn't know what to do with my time. It was the first time I was faced with the reality of me not believing I had any value because I didn't have work. And that was a sad, scary realization for me. It was
Believing she didn't have value because she didn't have work. This is more workaholic behavior, like people who work so much that if they're not busy, they just feel like they're helpless. Like they need to keep busy in order to feel useful or valuable or whatever. And again, on your pathway to success, you're going to you're going to feel like that. I had a professor who was saying that you're going to have to, even if you're not taking courses on your main discipline, you're going to want to take courses to stay in practice, or even to do independent studies to stay in practice. And people who want to be successful, they just got to keep busy. So that is something you may consider.
first time my schedule allowed me to sit there and be like, now I am alone and I'm with my thoughts, and I feel like I'm ceasing to exist as a person because I don't have a purpose and I don't have value, and that's really sad, because that means every time work goes away I will feel this way, and that's not what I want. That's not setting me up for success. That's not setting me up for a spiritually happy life. And so I did the work to really dive deep into my soul and be like, you're going to figure this out. And what I came to the conclusion of is that I don't have any original thoughts when it comes to who I am as a person and what I want out of life and what I value out of life. Everything I've operated on has been what people have told me, whether it's school, whether it's my parents, whether it's society. I have never given thought into what it is I actually want. I never thought that was an option. It sounds ridiculous to say, but I guarantee you people that are listening.
Yeah, so people who want to be successful are usually motivated by what other people want for them, what other people think is the best for them. And I've seen that throughout my life with coworkers and people that I know personally. And a lot of people are unhappy with the choices that they make because they were influenced by others and they were just going down a path that was carved out for them, or that they felt was the most acceptable, and or a path that had less criticism. And as a result, you have these unsatisfied, unhappy people, and when they see you taking the initiative and doing what you think is right for yourself, they may lash out at you or criticize you or make you feel bad about your choices. And you just have to realize what's best for yourself, or you might wind up like the people who are miserable and looking to make anyone feel bad who is not in the position that they're in, which is the position of appeasing the group instead of doing what's best for yourself. So I thought that the information, her insight was really useful for people who want to be successful. Just contemplating these ideas and thinking about what you can do to better prepare yourself for these obstacles that are inevitable when you're pursuing success. So, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment about maybe some obstacles you've incurred when you pursued success, or someone that you know. And if you want, you can donate. My information's in the description, and I'll see you in the next one.